gotta believe in yourself, huh? Who else gon' believe in you? Who else gon' believe in you? Who else gon' believe in you? Believe in yourself.
Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in to the Manny Hall Show. I have with me my guest, Robyn. Say hi to him, Robyn.
Hello.
We're about to get it in. It's going to be an awesome show, very impactful. You know what's really good about this show is like Robyn's always doing the interviewing, and she has her own show, and now she's on my show, which is awesome. And but I'm ready to be on her show too, so this is a great collaboration. So we're going to be able to hear all the great things that she's doing throughout the city and some of her guests that she's interviewed and just a lot of experiences. But I really want her more than anything else to really tell her story so that you guys can see that although she's super dope and has a really great show, she's not perfect. She had her own struggles. She had her own journey to success as well. So we all have to work hard, grind, and have our own process to get to where we're trying to go. So you guys be blessed. Manny Hall Show, Robyn. Hey, Robyn, how are you?
I'm good, Manny. How are you doing?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for coming to my little space here, my home away from home.
Oh, no problem at all. I've been a huge fan of what you're doing. I love the movement. So you got to keep going, Robyn. You got to keep going. You can't stop.
Thank you. Thank you for that encouragement.
Oh, you're welcome. So please tell the people your full name, what you do, and part of your journey, your story.
Ooh, let's see. I'm Robyn Hill. I am a mental health therapist. This is my office suite. And this room here is where I counsel my clients.
Okay.
I primarily do depression, anxiety, and trauma.
Gotcha.
But I work with different stuff. I mostly work with adults.
Okay.
And some teens. And in this room is my radio station. I launched here in June.
Oh, wow.
So
we're going to have to take a peek into each one of those.
yeah, so let's stop in there.
Okay.
That started because I started a radio show a couple years ago, actually, and moved from station to station. But I eventually wanted to build a platform for myself,
Gotcha.
so that I can draw the audience that I needed to draw
Makes sense.
for my show. And it became a little passion of mine because it's now like I'm an artist at heart.
Yeah.
And it became a piece of art.
Yeah.
So I was able to create and draw different shows that express different parts of me. So that's the radio station.
I love that.
So I don't know where we want to go first to talk more about.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can step in here. Yeah.
Okay. Let's start in here.
It's nice and
Sit
peaceful.
in my therapy seat.
I love it.
Yeah, this is the room where the healing happens.
Yes.
As you can see, do what you love what you do. I had to put that there for myself, so when I do my paperwork, I'm looking at the beach. I can feel like I'm somewhere peaceful.
I can appreciate that.
So you can see behind you when I'm talking to my clients, I'm looking off into a peaceful place, and there's a peaceful place above them. A little relaxing scenery as well.
That is really nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're creating a place of relaxation for.
Now, was this like a picture or a painting?
That's a picture. Actually, I got that picture from, I think, Bed Bath & Beyond.
Wow. It's so captivating.
I've always been into sceneries. I used to paint when I was a teenager. I did oil paintings. So, sceneries have always been my thing. I used to watch Bob Ross.
Okay. I used to love him.
Yeah, taught myself how to paint. So that has always been, when I find a nice scenery, I gotta snatch it up. So that one and that one came from Bed Bath & Beyond.
Those are nice. Good picks. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your story. Now, I really want to capture some of the hard stuff, some of the good stuff, because, you know, believe it or not, Robyn, a lot of times people never get a chance to tell us how amazing we are, either because of their pride or just being scared to approach you. So I want them to be able to see, wow, she went through some stuff, so that they don't get discouraged when they want to try something, thinking that one day you woke up and you had a radio show.
Right. Now, this is a hard story to tell because, you know, sometimes you don't want to tell your story because you don't want to hurt others. And my story began, it doesn't begin, but I was married And I was putting my dreams behind my husband's because that's what I wanted to do, not because I couldn't. I wanted to put my dreams behind my husband's, but they weren't coming to fruition, and they were dying within me. And the marriage ended, and that's when everything took off. And I've always had in me an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always had in me this leader. And I'm not going to say the marriage killed it. Something about I lost myself somewhere between college and my 30s.
Gotcha.
I think ministry and all of that did it. We were involved in ministry. And I think, gosh, I hope the church is going to come after me. Sometimes we try to fit into cookie cutter molds of what everyone expects us to be. And I have always been very outspoken, very do things my own way. Like I said, I watched Bob Ross videos and taught myself how to oil paint. I have always been a headstrong person. Just do things my way, get it done. I just do it. I decided I wanted to go to college, and I did it on my own. And so here I am in church submitting to ministry and being told to wait, being told to be quiet, being told that this is how you have to be. You have to put on stockings every week, and you have to, and I did it because I was, this is what you do. You submit to authority. And, we were young and married and tithing and giving all of our all away and had nothing to show for our gifts. And at some point it all broke. I think for the both of us, but I can only speak for myself. It broke. And everything crumbled. And I wound up coming back home. And I came back home, meaning back home means back to Cleveland. And
because where were you living at this time?
We were in Akron.
Okay.
We were in Akron. And I don't blame that particular church for it because I think it's a church in general system.
Yep.
Where you lose your identity. If you don't know who you are, people will tell you who you are.
Yep, that's it.
And so I just came back home. And in that process of trying to rebuild myself is when I started my business. I started networking and meeting people, and I wound up in an organization. I knew I wanted to start my own practice because I was already a licensed therapist. I knew I wanted to start my own practice. And I joined an organization, National Coalition of 100 Black Women, and I found myself sitting amongst judges, doctors, lawyers, deans of colleges, and business owners, engineers at NASA, major people. And I'm like, wow. And when you're hanging around people who are up here, it makes you step your game up.
Yeah.
It's like I have no choice. I'm hanging with these women who are major women.
Right.
And next thing you know, I was filing my business with the state.
Wow.
I was researching how to file with insurance companies and bill. I was researching all this information and getting myself some office space. I had researched it while I was still married, but at that time, I couldn't get started.
Gotcha.
So now was the time. So I started my practice. I started my practice in April 2011. By August of 2011, I was leaving work full-time, going into full-time business.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was the start of private practice. And I've been doing this ever since. I moved here probably about 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, this has been it. I established myself as Robyn Hill Counseling Professional Development Services.
I love it. Now let's go back a little bit. So you're talking about this whole process of systemically being wrong right now, the way that a lot of individuals matriculate through ministry. And I don't think it's one particular church that's the issue, like you said, because unfortunately I went through the same thing. And I was a young deacon at the Word Church and then a minister at the Word Church. And still love the church to this day, and a lot of other churches as well. But the message during that time was, stay in ministry, get a ministry. You need to be up here all the time. And I did that. But at the same time, I was sinning too. So I was a young guy, having a lot of power and authority and leadership positions. So really didn't know how to do all that. And, during the time, I believe that leaders really did try to say, be careful, because, the attacks of the enemy are real, and you got to watch yourself and make sure that you don't place yourself around girls. And that sounded good at the time, but it's just like, now you're presented with these pretty girls. They're some of the best looking women in Cleveland. I'm like, whoa, y'all really like me, huh? So, there were opportunities for me to fall, and I did sometimes. And I eventually got sat down, which I really appreciated the pastor to do at that time, because it taught me, as well as the other members, like, we're not going to put up with people doing wrong. But at the same time, there needed to be a balance to actually teach me how to be a young leader, and which I don't think that a lot of churches have. So getting back to your point, I do think that a lot of times you go into ministry almost like it's a non-profit organization that you're just helping assist with, and you throw yourself in there because it's like the great thing to do, stay out of trouble and all those things. But then you end up giving your best years to the church and never really do anything for yourself. And most churches aren't teaching economic empowerment, leadership for your own business, start your own business, do something that's going to be beneficial to you. It's more so help the ministry.
I sat myself down, and because I couldn't hear God's voice anymore. When I came to know God, it was on my own in my own bedroom. My parents didn't raise me in church. My dad ran bars. I always tell people that. I'd say that to shock people, actually. I was raised in bars. I wasn't raised in church, so I don't have that church culture about me.
Gotcha.
So I came to know God on my own. Well, my aunt would take me to church with her, with vacation Bible schools and stuff, but me coming to know God was a personal thing. So I came to hear his voice on a personal thing.
Gotcha.
So getting busy in ministry, I lost his voice. So I sat myself down, and I can remember looks of leaders like, why are you sitting down? And I'm like, because I can't hear him. What am I standing up for? And I remember sitting in church during worship, like, I'm not standing up until I feel the move of the Spirit. Tell me to stand up. I'm not going to do the ritualistic behaviors. But I'm torn because I was in leadership. I understand the need of people. They need the leaders. I get it. But I think from my own spiritual journey, I think we need to slow it down for the individuals. We don't. Why are we doing such a business model approach to ministry anyway? What is the numbers for? Business is about numbers. I know because I run a business.
Right.
We got to run a business. We got to keep the numbers up to keep the doors open. I get the numbers approach.
Yeah.
But when it really comes down to ministry, it doesn't matter about the numbers. Slow it down. Yeah. Make sure that one person is okay. Yeah. Make sure that marriage is okay.
That's it.
You see them over there not really talking, or not close to each other, they don't look like a couple. Talk to them. Slow it down. So that's my my thing.
No. From a mental health standpoint, one thing I do appreciate the Word Church were doing and adopting was a group called Grief Recovery. And I was one of the facilitators, and I'm still certified. So I enjoyed it. I can be able to meet with people sometimes and help them matriculate through grief. But a lot of churches don't have that. They
don't. And then this was my issue with Grief Recovery.
Okay.
It's very systematic.
Gotcha.
And as a therapist, it's not enough. It gives you an understanding of grief, which is
and it's almost like it opens up that wound, but then now you are forced to do something with it.
I've had to walk with some clients with their grief for 2-3 years. Let's walk.
Yeah.
And I always tell you, as a therapist, I walk through valleys with people.
Yeah.
Some people's valleys are thorny. Some people's valleys are low and long.
Yeah,
They're
that makes
rocky
sense.
and there's storms in those valleys.
That makes sense.
And I have to slowly walk through valleys with some people.
And people need to understand, Robyn, and I hope you agree, that there's no timetable on grief.
No. But grief recovery is great for helping people understand what that process is all
Yeah,
about.
right. It opens up that door at least.
Yeah.
So, what is life like in your profession, helping people deal with their pain, their grief, heartache, all that kind of stuff? What's life like?
Yeah. What's life like? I'm gonna say I'm dualistic. I'm probably multilistic. I have sides of me.
Okay.
You know, there's this side of me that you see now.
Mm-hmm.
I got my crazy side. You know that other people get to see.
Uh-huh.
You know, I had a friend tell me that there's Robyn Hill, there's Miss Hill, there's Robyn McLemore. That's my maiden name.
Okay.
And there's just Robyn. So there's different sides of me. So, you know, there's times where I just turn off Robyn Hill. That just turns off.
That makes sense.
I'm a spiritual person, so God's children come in here, and I give God's children's problems to God when they leave.
Gotcha.
That's one reason why I don't really work with children. Because those problems probably would come home with me. That's why I prefer adults and teens, because they got the rationale to deal with their stuff.
And Robyn, I'm really glad that you said that. And it wasn't like a pop quiz to have a right answer, but I'm really glad you did say that you have learned how to leave the problems there, not take it home, because although you probably learned that in school, most therapists don't do that. Most psychologists don't do it. Most sociologists, whatever kind of therapy they're doing, they don't learn that. So it's like you end up having a jacked up marriage, jacked up parental relationship with your kids, and having all kind of anxiety attacks because you're taking all the weight of so many clients that you saw their issues home with you. And then in some respects, it might make you appear to be a great therapist because you're helping so many people, but you're torturing yourself on the inside.
Yeah, I try not. I don't. Somebody always asks me, "How do you deal with it? How do you do it?" I don't think I've gotten callous over the years, so I just don't take it home.
And it's not that you don't care; you just don't take it home.
No, and there's a part of me that knows that a lot of times these people have been dealing with their stuff for this long. They can handle it for another week until they come back.
Yeah. And you don't need to put that whole weight on yourself.
No, I don't need to. No.
Okay, so again, we got to go back in your journey a little bit more again. Okay. So after this marriage, you quickly found Robyn come alive in a different way.
Like I resuscitated.
Yeah, let's talk about that part.
Goodness, it was hard because I didn't know I was flatlined. Okay. That was the hard part. And I don't want to go too deep in it because
no, that's understandable.
But I didn't know that I had flatlined, and so it was a very spiritual journey. And that was when I reconnected back with God, but in a way that probably is unorthodox to many. Okay. Because when you talk to people, they say, "Well, what church do you belong to?"
Yeah.
Gotcha. I did join a church for a minute, and I visited other places, but I tend to knee-jerk go back into wanting to get into ministry when I go to churches, and God has to remind me that this is it. Yeah. This is where my energy is to go to. When I go to churches, and I did go to one of what I feel like is one of the best churches around. Okay, I'm gonna shout them out, House of Lord in Akron, Ohio, Bishop Troy Johnson. So when I go to other churches and see administratively things are out of order, Sunday schools are out of order, and I knee-jerk want to jump in and help. And so that becomes problematic. I'm like, okay, I need to not involve myself. I don't go for just what I need to go for because I'm too busy paying attention to the lack.
That makes sense. So right now, how do you find that balance still? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, at this present state, my wife and I, we don't have a home church either. Me being in ministry for so long, I'm 36 now. So from the time I was probably about 19 to roughly 32, 33, was in ministry all the time. And not saying that it wore me out.
It wore you out.
It did, in a sense. I'll admit that. But at the same time, as I got a little bit older and started to look at life, it kind of changed my perspective on ministry. To now, it's almost like, if we're the church, then why don't we all come together? Why is it that I'm a part of your ministry at this church, but I can't participate in ministry at another church if we are the church?
Right.
Like, can't we all serve?
Right. It's business. But, okay, going back to the burnout. Because it's different things.
Yeah.
The burnout is real. The spiritual burnout is real. And it's not... I think the spiritual burnout is not the same thing as spiritual crisis. Some people might be in spiritual crisis, which means you need to seek the face of God. You need to get in His presence and plug back in and recharge.
Yeah.
The spiritual burnout, the church burnout is not spiritual burnout. You know, I don't have the energy for the stand up, sit down, turn to your neighbor. Right. Stand up, sit down, pray, turn to your neighbor. I don't have the energy for the pageantry of it all. So that's different to me.
Makes sense.
I don't have the energy for the business end of it. Like I said, I'm running my own business here. And this is exhausting. Like, I got to get my taxes together for the accountant so that I can file.
Right.
That is the business end. I got to sit there and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get more clients on the schedule? The same way the pastor has to figure out how to get more people in the pews so he can get the tithes in so he can pay them. They have electric bill too.
Yeah.
They have whatever financial obligations they have too. So there's a business end to church. We both served in ministry, so we know exactly what that business end is. And that part is exhausting in itself. The administrative end of church is exhausting.
It is.
So, and then maybe even just the serving end of it is exhausting. I used to be a Sunday school teacher, altar worker, minister in training. I was on a maintenance committee, I wanted that one because I wanted to make sure I was serving with a clean heart. So I'm like, I'm going to clean urinals.
Gotcha.
I was a nursery worker because once that was the rule. Once you start having babies, you got to serve in the nursery. What else did I do? I was volunteering with Naomi and Ruth, which is a mentoring or ministry. So many things. I don't have the energy.
Gotcha.
And it's expected when you're reaching a spiritual maturity that you're joining and serving. It's expected of you in church.
Yeah, but it's almost like, why does it have to be that way? Because, you know, I used to have this joke with some of the leaders that it just seemed like the people that's just coming on Sundays and Wednesdays and not serving, they look freer than I do.
Right. And the thing is when you study your Bible and you study the history of the church and you really get down to the basics, that's not what it was about. And see, I freed myself. See, my Master of Arts is in clinical pastoral counseling. I went to Ashland Theological Seminary, so I studied.
Okay, I did too. I went through the McCrary Center. It was down.
I went down to Emerge, and I was at Ashland.
Nice.
The main
Awesome.
campus.
Okay.
And, you know, you study the history of the church, and at the basic level, they got together when they could. It wasn't a Sunday weekly service, order of service, all of this. And I think that exhaustion that we feel might be a legitimate exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because it really, at the beginning, it was not what it was.
Gotcha.
So it's okay. But as your spirit leads you, if you feel led to go, then go.
Right.
But guilt to not go is not necessary. Now somebody said, you know, what the scripture says, don't forsake the gathering of the brethren. Then if you feel like eating meat, then eat meat.
Yeah. That makes sense. I love it. And we probably could talk about this for a very long time. But I appreciate the conversation. Now, Robyn, let's start talking about this journey of having your own show, because now sitting here in this therapy chair, it's a little different because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even know she was a therapist. I just knew you as a radio show host.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about all that. So as we do, let's move over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, you know, you got a couple different hats.
Yeah, I wear several hats. Okay, well, now we're moving into Robyn McLemore territory. So now we're in Elevations Radio. Just get the banner, as you see me. Under my banner here, Elevations Radio.
Right. Which I've seen several guests in here doing their thing.
Several hosts doing their shows.
Yeah.
So we got about, in addition to my show, because I'm the owner of the station.
Okay.
We have about 7 or 8 other shows.
Okay, so shout them out.
We got Sade Carlissa, who does The Queen's Journey, Yvanka Hall and Gerald Solomon, who does Reclaiming Our Health.
Okay.
Nanika, I say her name wrong. Nanika Ansari, who does Just One Hot Mom. Pastor Jeff, who does The Right Side. We have Pastor Mike McCreary, who does Living Word Ministries. Greg Bam Reeves and his co-host Benita Rahman, who does Let's Be Real. Yeah, Let's Be Real. Look, I'm trying to go through the whole list, and did I get everybody? Darnella Allen, who does I Will Live and Not Die. That's the people who live in chronic illness. She ministers to those people who are learning to live. Like, just because you got diagnosed with it, you're going to live. So I think that's everybody. If I forgot one of my shows,
It sounded like
so
7 at least.
Sorry. Tony Miller, who sends his podcast, pre-recorded podcast of Just People Podcast, he does the Mentoring Mind show podcast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and then my show.
Yeah.
Mind Healing Conversations.
Yeah.
So usually you see me sitting in this chair, but I sit over here so you can get some good visuals. You need some light behind me?
No, this is perfect. I just want to get everything. It's just, it's so dope, Robyn, to not only see someone tackle this journey as a radio host and having their own show and station, period. But what's also more amazing is a young black woman like yourself doing her thing. She's a therapist and radio show host and got her own freaking station. Amazing. So I applaud you.
Both my parents are big supporters of me. But my daddy, I'm a daddy's girl. Let me tell you. My daddy built me this.
Nice.
He built it. My dad is a DJ.
Shout out to Dad. What's his name?
Barry McLemore. He has been around Cleveland forever and was a DJ and part of, the beginning of the stations in Cleveland back in the day.
Okay.
And when I said, Daddy, I want to broadcast my show myself, I was thinking he was just going to create something just so I could do my show.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I had a 24-hour radio station going with music and everything. I'm like,
wow, Daddy.
Wow.
I love it.
So the station runs 24/7.
Wow.
You can tune in right now at elevationsradio.com. There's a show or music playing. All our shows get rerun throughout the week.
I love
or
it.
There's music playing. We play any artists, and it's just.
I love it.
Yeah, and he taught me how to run all this stuff.
All right, so let's talk about that.
The running the radio station.
Yeah. So what made you? Your daddy was gonna help you regardless. Mm-hmm. But what made you have the audacity, Robyn, and say,
"Okay,
I'm about to have my own show, and I'm gonna have my own station, and I'm gonna find other creative people around the city and allow them to do their thing as well."
Well, I had been doing my own show for a couple of years.
Okay.
I had been doing spots on different radio shows, like down at I'm gonna say JMO because I'm old, but it's not JMO anymore. WERE.
Okay.
And liked it. And then I was getting interviewed on other people's podcast shows, and I was like, this is cool. I like being interviewed. Maybe I should start my own radio show.
Yeah.
But I was looking for where I would do it at, and I knew I was looking for internet radio. And so I talked to some people, some national internet radio spots, and they were very expensive. And that sparked the idea years ago.
Gotcha.
Because at first, I'm always thinking money. I'm going to tell you that honestly.
Okay.
I'm looking like, oh, that's what they charging to be on their station. I could do that. I'm going to figure out how to do that.
Gotcha.
And then I started with one company and this one lady, and she mentored on how to start your show. And I'm going to shout her out. Raven, the radio maven, I can't remember her last name, but Amazing Women of Power was her station. But she mentors you on how to start your podcast in your kitchen. She was awesome. With her teaching me how to structure my show. And that's how I got started with the radio show. But it was a pre-recorded podcast, and I wanted to do live. So I took a break from her, and I started hooking up with local stations doing live.
Yeah.
And I wanted a different platform. I liked the platform that Raven had as far as the draw of what she was creating, but it wasn't live. So I eventually, that's when I went to my dad and said, I want to create my, I want to broadcast it myself, because I knew I wanted to build a positive and uplifting platform.
Gotcha.
And that's what we say with Elevation. We're positive and uplifting. We don't do any profanity. We don't.
Gotcha.
No vulgarities here.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Though, was it hard and challenging?
It's learning how to build the audience, get your name out there, and all that's the challenge. Any kind of business. But I just know it takes time.
Yeah.
And finding that thing, that breakthrough, it's coming. I know.
Absolutely. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
So, walk us through the journey of actually and the practical steps of getting started.
With a show?
Yeah, with the show.
I think more so it's about having a message.
Okay.
If you have a message that you want to say, or you guys, even if it's not like you're inspirational, if you're funny, if you just got a message, you got something you want to say, and you want to be heard, then that's the first step. Because then we can create something from there. See, like I told you, I started with oil paintings. I'm a creative person, so I can visualize. And that's where I think my passion with the radio station is coming in, and I'm like coming to life in another way. That's another resuscitation that's happening, because now I can help people create here.
Gotcha.
In another format. So if you have an idea, then I can help you bring that idea to life. And we do, we got to set up for the video, we got to set up for the sound. If you just want to record a podcast, we can do that here too, just to help bring that idea to life. But if people are coming just because they want to get rich, they always say, if you're looking for the money, that's not it. If you're looking to just do what you're passionate about, then everything else will flow into place.
I love that. And why do you love it so much?
I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it's the creativity part of it. Because that room is the healing room. But in here, like I create all the banners for my shows. I create all my little flyers because I can't afford a web design. I create my websites. I create everything. And I think that's part of my not taking the mental health stuff home. Because I get in here and I start to be artistic.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And I'm glad that you said that you do it on your own. And in some respects, it's not that you can't afford it, but right now that you're just doing it on your own. I think that you like being creative.
I do. But it is, I'm gonna be honest with you, I cannot afford it, but I'm raising 2 kids, and I'm raising them in Shaker, so I can be in a good school system. All my money goes towards them. But I say that proudly, because I want people to know I've started businesses with zero. Everyone has in their mind, I gotta get this money up, I gotta have this, I gotta have enough money to have this, I gotta have a marketing budget, I gotta have blah blah blah. I've started businesses with zero.
Yeah.
You have to have an idea and some creativity, and you can do something. Talk to people, you can do it. You don't have to. I think people are selling a bill of goods, trying to tell you so they can sell you something, that this is what you need. Watch my videos or sign up for my workshop so you know what you need to have. And they're trying to sell you a marketing package, trying to sell you a web designer, trying to sell you all these stuff, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And that's fine that that's what they do, because eventually I will be able to pay. It won't be long that I'm going to be like, hey, design this for me.
Right.
But right now, to cut that expense so that I can, buy my kids a pizza or something is great for me.
Yeah, I love that. And really, the reality is a lot of us are entrepreneurs that are on our way up.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I like to talk about my journey right now. And that's why I asked you about where you've been, what you're doing right now. That's why I love the fact you're being transparent, because that's the stuff that's really going to help people.
Right.
People can connect and identify and see themselves and where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I came in here, Robyn, and you was talking about, oh, everything's great and I do this and I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want it. I probably would stop the recording and say, oh, Robyn, the video messed up. I can't upload. I'm sorry. It's messed up. But it's like I keep asking these entrepreneurs, these influencers, these creatives on the show to tell their story, because there's somebody out there that's going to be able to connect and identify with you. Your story is going to be different than mine, and somebody will be able to see yours and say, that right there is going to help me get to where I need to be.
Right, definitely. It is, entrepreneurship is a struggle. If anybody tells you otherwise, but it is, I have this one meme, and I'm gonna post it on my page. Being broke is hard. Having wealth is, obtaining wealth is hard. Choose your hard. So, this is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard work, but I slept in this morning. So, yes, it's hard. Me and my best friend were talking yesterday because, we frustrated because, Medicaid changes happen and we're trying to figure out, where our money is at on this thing. And she was like, she was thinking about getting a job, but to go back to only having 2 weeks vacation is hard.
Yeah.
She takes at least 3 weeks or 4 weeks vacations a year.
Wow.
So, it's hard when you're not getting a paycheck sometimes, but eventually the paycheck comes in.
Yeah.
So it's some struggles. There's some struggles. I find other ways to try to hustle. Some families sometimes have to help me out because I do have an office space in Beechwood, Ohio.
Yeah. And I can only imagine.
Right. It's super expensive because I'm in an older building. If something happens to this building, God, please. I don't know. I'm blessed. But I know also that people have to, I've tried to put office spaces in other parts of the city. They don't come. So they got to leave where they've been hurt to get healing. So,
Gotcha. That makes sense.
That's just what it is. But this is where my money goes, to maintaining this space.
Now, what motivates you?
Well, what motivates me? I am a healer. I want to see people improve their quality of life. These are the words that I say to myself. I want to see people improve their quality of life. I am a healer. I'm about soul care. So everything I do flows from that. So even the radio station is all about improving people's life, improving people's quality of care, quality of life, and improving their soul care. So if anything I'm doing does not flow from that space, then I know I'm draining myself. I was Ubering this summer for extra cash, and it was draining me. It only worked. There was a crisis period financially, so it worked during the crisis period. But once that crisis was ending, then the Uber app wasn't working anymore.
Gotcha. So you find basically self-motivation.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You have to know what your purpose is so that everything that you do flows from that purpose.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So when times do get tough, what helps you to keep going?
Okay. And this has been the lesson that I've been learning. This is a current learning lesson for me that is going to sustain me for the rest of my life. My father, my earthly father, has been that person. And it is becoming there's a spiritual lesson.
Okay.
Catch it.
Uh-huh.
My daddy, because I'm a daddy's girl, my daddy has been here catching me so I do not fall.
Uh-huh.
Make me start crying, Jesus. He has been catching me so I do not fall, to let me know he got me. And that will always be the lesson. God has you. Your Father, your Heavenly Father, He has you. He will keep you. And He has kept me. And He has been doing that through my earthly father to keep me a constant physical. Whew. Oh, Lord, we're about to have church here. He has kept a physical reminder through my earthly father to let me know He's here.
Robyn, what did your dad mean to you?
Child, I'm about to start crying. My dad is... I put, even though it's not an appropriate song, I posted Black Superman on my Facebook page one day because he came here one day, I was hungry. I had my money. Care source and all them and messed up my money. Awful. In the last, whatever. And he just came through with some burgers and fries, just like, and he didn't know how hungry I was. Because I just make sure that the kids got food. And so when they go to their dad's on the weekend, I just be like, I'll figure something out eventually. And he came in here to do the radio shows, and he had burgers and fries. My dad he's my dad. And I plan on doing something about fathers, a workshop or something from a spiritual perspective soon, so people can understand, for women to understand what their Heavenly Father, what that relationship is supposed to look like. Because when you don't have a father, or when you've had a skewed relationship with your father, it skews your relationship with your Heavenly Father. Because we don't realize that defines God.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad is my dad. And I don't know how to explain that, because to me, that's what a dad is. And
you love him a lot?
Yeah. He used to come up to I was a handful in school. A handful, is to say it nicely. And them teachers couldn't tell him nothing about me. You gotta explain to me what a bad attitude means. What do you mean she's got a bad attitude? Yeah. When he saw my first picture I did with watercolors, and I was imitating Bob Ross. I took some of them old, remember the watercolors? There was some little circles that you just have in school. And I imitated Bob Ross, and he saw that. And my dad was an artist. I didn't know. And he had an big old professional art kit buried in his closet. And he went in his closet and pulled it out and gave it to me. That's how I started doing oils and acrylics.
That's awesome.
And so here, I have a radio show, and he builds me the radio station. Every time he sees something, a gift that I have, he helps to enhance that.
I love that. Now, Robyn, as we get out of here, do you have any last words?
Whatever passion is in your heart, whatever is burning, you have to create it. You have to do it. You have to go after it. I have in my mind to do, I go do it. There's no fear of to fail. There's no, you do it. That's just all I have to say about it.
I love it. Well, Robyn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Manny Hall Show, we're out. Be blessed.